Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. Here's your host, Morgan Colby and Rick Lemon.
Hooey! Welcome to the Fantasy Champions Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Morgan Colby, and I just offended so many Southern people right now with my horrible
that was an awful
Southern accent. I got Rick Lemon with me. It's Thursday, February 20th, 2020. Now, I guarantee you those Southern people trying to do my Bostonian accent would screw it up. Do I have a Boston accent, by the way?
No, you don't.
Okay, good. I don't.
I mean, we can if we want to, but...
Yeah, I was listening to the radio today because that's what you do in New England. You listen to sports radio if you're a sports fan, right? And somebody called on the radio, and they were, like, so hardcore. They were talking about, like, the Red Sox, and they were so hardcore into, like, the Boston accent. Everything was, like, I'm not even going to try to replicate
it was very Boston.
I appreciated the Bostonian commercial for
Super Bowl.
sports. What is the car?
It's a Hyundai something.
Whatever, dude. It parks itself.
Yeah, which
Parks.
is cool.
Parks itself.
It parks its own car in Harvard Yard.
We got a lot to get to in this episode. We're going to talk about our top five second-year players
that we're excited
about, that we're pumped. We think are going to have a good season in 2020. So we'll go over that soon. We're going to have a quick question to start the show, but before we get into that, check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, at the FFChamps on Twitter, at the Fantasy Champions on Instagram. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/the Fantasy Champions. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Click the bell on YouTube for notifications. Leave a review and share this podcast with your friends. Let's get to the news first. Wow. I'm just reading it at this point, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally botched that. So that was from show notes from our previous show. Wow. So let's get to a quick question first. So I didn't talk to you about this before. I hope you prepared.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I didn't really prepare, but I know I already have somebody in my mind. I have two guys.
I didn't prepare. No. So who is your favorite rookie in the upcoming draft class?
So the first guy,
okay,
you won't like as much because it's Joe Burrow, and I know it's like a quarterback and all that stuff. But I'm serious. If he gets put in Cincinnati, and he has AJ Green if he stays there, which he might get traded. But AJ Green, John Ross, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, he's got actual weapons to be like,
right?
Not probably not like a top 10 fantasy quarterback.
Yeah,
but he could have a good like if he plays to what he's capable of playing and what people think he will, and if he's as good as some people think he is, then he could very well be like a top 13 fantasy quarterback next year with those weapons. But the other guy that I was looking at, he's a wide receiver.
Oh,
so
which one is it?
Rookie. It's Jerry Jeudy.
Jeudy.
Yeah,
there
from
he
Alabama. And the reason why is because a lot of again, I haven't done too much draft research, but I do remember seeing him at Alabama and thinking, oh, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But a lot of the experts have said that he should be a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
But because there's no teams in the top 10 that like desperately need a receiver, they need like offensive line or someone on defense, that he's probably going to fall out of the top 10.
Right.
And a lot of mock drafts have him going to the Raiders right now at like number 12, I think.
Yep.
Which would be a perfect fit for somebody like that. He's somebody who we talked about Tuesday about like the wide receiver exception. We briefly brought up, like you said, like Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Like he would honestly be at that level, I think.
There are two wide receivers in this class. Jerry Jeudy is one of them, and the other one is CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That kid is absolutely absurd.
They're both really good.
And these two players, I think, obviously, to me, only one of them is going to have the ability to have a relatively decent fantasy season. When I say that, it'll probably be mid-range wide receiver too.
Yeah. I think one of them could be a high-end wide receiver.
But it like you said,
I don't know which one it's going to be, but
it all depends on situation.
Yes. I think the Raiders would be a perfect fit for either of those guys.
For Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb. And right now, according to Mel Kiper's mock draft on NFL,
Mel
Kiper. ESPN, Mel Kiper. So the Patriots are going to draft Jacob Eason. Screw everything.
Who's that?
I don't know. Everyone knows that. Right now, he is projecting 7 wide receivers to go in the first round, 1 running back. But anyway,
really?
Yeah. So CeeDee Lamb is one of those guys. He's projecting him to go to the Jets, which for Sam Darnold finally getting some help, I don't see that as a successful landing spot for him. There are a lot of teams that need a wide receiver. But you start looking into the top 10, and there's just these teams have other needs besides wide receivers.
Right.
You got Cincinnati 1,
quarterback.
Washington 2. They're going to take
defense
the
or
defensive
offensive
line. And then Detroit. Oh,
They need defense badly.
He has 2 badly. To Detroit.
What? Are you serious?
I don't know.
So that's probably on the assumption they trade Stafford.
Yeah, that would be safe. The Giants, who already have a quarterback,
they need defense.
They have a decent offensive situation.
A ton of wide receivers.
Miami,
they need anything.
anything.
Probably not receiver. Los
Angeles right now is probably going to draft an offensive lineman.
Yep.
And then you got Carolina and Arizona.
They need anything.
Arizona needs
linemen. Or defense again. Like their
and
receivers are fine.
Jacksonville's got other things to worry about as well. And then Cleveland, not
Odell
for wide receivers. So
Landry,
when you get outside of the top 10, the Jets, Las Vegas,
they call the Colts, right?
Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there's
even the Colts. I think are fine at wide receiver.
There's a plethora.
The Jets and Raiders definitely could use one.
Right. So I don't see any of these receivers being successful in the NFL year 1, but in dynasty leagues, it's a battle right now. I think if you had to do early dynasty mock drafts between CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy. This is very early, though.
How did the Jets fall to the 11th overall pick?
I don't know. they below chunks.
They choked at tanking.
Yeah, but anyway, you could really go either way. Like I personally like Jerry Jeudy over CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
But it could go either way. Right. So, as we start breaking down these players a little bit more as the offseason goes along, we'll give you more information on all of them. Obviously. I don't know how many of these guys are actually going to show up at the Combine next week. But T. Higgins is another guy. He's projected to go to Philly now.
Who's the running back out of
Henry Ruggs, the third wide receiver, another Alabama wide receiver projected to go to Buffalo. DeAndre Swift is the running back. He's projected to go to Miami.
Yep.
Dobbins is legit too. There's so many good running backs, but they're all going to fall out because running backs are just not needed anymore.
Yeah.
Swift is really good, and Miami desperately needs a running back at this point. So anyway, and then you got the Patriots taking a quarterback by the name of Jacob Eason. So I don't even know who that is. Washington. That could be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots next year.
That's crazy.
I'm
looking at this list, and I see the Patriots have the 23rd overall pick, and I'm like, when was the last time we had a 23rd
overall pick? Yeah. And it's not even that far down the board. But anyway, so that's who I like. I like CeeDee Lamb. You like Jerry Jeudy. Your obvious pick was Joe Burrow. Would you get off the Burrow train? Please, for the love of Pete. We'll probably have a conversation about
it's just a good fit. It's just a good fit.
But anyway, let's move into our episode on the top 5 second-year players. So we're starting. These guys aren't rookies anymore. Next week's the Combine. These young players are no longer rookies. This is their second year in the NFL. This is where wide receivers can take that leap into stardom.
Yeah.
And this is where running backs can also take the leap into stardom, and quarterbacks. Everyone. Second year, third year players, that's when usually you really figure out if they're good or not. So we're going to give you our top 5 players that we're most excited about going into next year. So number 1, we talked about them last episode. Actually, we talked about 3 guys last episode. We're going to talk about where they're getting drafted, and why we would take them, where we would take them, and why. So number 1 on our list, or should we start at 5? Should we start 5-1 or 1-5?
Go 5-1.
All right, 5-1.
So it doesn't confuse you. So it's going to confuse you either way.
Yeah, it's going to confuse me either way. So we'll start with number 5, Kyler Murray. I know you have some reservations.
I have concerns.
You have concerns because you watched.
I did.
You watched a young man by the name of Baker Mayfield screw everyone over.
Who had a lot of expectations. Puked all over himself.
Exactly.
But Kyler Murray, I think I even brought to you up before the show Daniel Jones as being a name because I'm That's how concerned I am with Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
But he is the best year 2 quarterback. I think we can both agree on that.
Yep.
I think most people would agree on that.
Right.
He's going to get drafted kind of high, but he has the ability. Like, he can throw the ball, he can run the ball, which is perfect for fantasy quarterbacks. He's in a team that focuses on offense. He's got weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Fitzgerald's coming back another year. You would think Kyler Murray takes that jump from year 1 to year 2, but if he doesn't and he stays at, like, what did he finish last year, 12 among quarterbacks?
In fantasy?
No, it was top 10, right?
I think he was number 12. Hold on a second.
Maybe.
I got it right in front of me right now. Numbers in 16 weeks, he finished as number 7.
Okay, wow. Yeah, so even if he doesn't, like, if he stays like that, he'll be okay. But if he gets drafted, like, in the 6th, 7th round,
right, it's not going to work. Yeah. For me, I think, obviously he had a lot of opportunity, 542 attempts. He threw 3,722 yards. I'm trying to find his touchdown total here. He had 20 passing touchdowns. Now, this is the biggest problem that I saw with Kyler Murray as the season was going along. He would have these really, like, big touchdown games. 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
I think he had no, he did not. I thought he had a 4-touchdown game, but he did not. So he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. He had these big
probably
games.
with a lot of rushing with that, so that's why.
Right. So he would have 2 passing touchdowns, and then he would go 0, and then 2 passing touchdowns, and then 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 3 passing touchdowns. And so he wasn't throwing touchdowns consistently because their offense wasn't getting in the red zone enough.
Yeah.
I think this year you're going to see they have 3 rookie wide receivers. Keyshawn Johnson. Why did I even continue to try to name them?
3 rookie wide receivers.
Yeah, 3 rookie wide receivers
from this past season.
You have Larry Fitzgerald, Christian
Kirk,
and then the 3 rookie wide receivers. Consistently, they run 5 wide receivers on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So any one of those guys could be good.
Kenyon Drake can catch the ball out of the backfield.
But them taking a step forward, I think they know what they want in Kenyon Drake.
Yep.
And later in the season, you started to see Kyler throw touchdowns more consistently. First, 8 weeks of the season, 2 touchdowns, no week 2, no touchdowns. Then he had 2, and then 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, and then it was 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 1, 1, 2. So he started throwing touchdowns back into the season. When he did start throwing touchdowns, he went from being a quarterback 2 all the time to being a quarterback 1 most of the time. And I think, obviously with his rushing floor and his ability to rush the football, it allows him to create more opportunity. But he's got to throw more than 20 touchdowns. If he wants to be a success in fantasy football, he's got to throw more than 20.
He doesn't, because he runs the ball, he doesn't need to throw 40.
Right.
But you need like 25 to 30, I think, for him to
in order to have a top 5 finish.
Yes.
And he was already good.
Next step.
Right. And I'm trying to find his rushing. He had 93 carries, which is good.
I mean, if he throws like 27 touchdowns
next
year, he'll probably finish in the top 5.
And he was we obviously know Lamar was number 1.
Yeah.
But he was number 2 in rushing yards in the NFL among quarterbacks. And he was also number 4 in rushing touchdowns among quarterbacks. So I think the difference between Baker and Kyler
is the running.
Yeah. And it creates – this is why I think that, like, this year coming in, I said Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to be a top 5 quarterback. I didn't predict that he was going to get hurt, but he was still averaging at top 5, so, like, around top 5. So, to me, I think a lot of variables go into being the best quarterback in fantasy. And I think Lamar Jackson, like, last year I was like, oh, you can't repeat as the QB1. I think Lamar might be able to just on the pure fact that he rushes the football so freaking much. Like, that's
right.
Like, that's not going down. He's going to continue. If he becomes a worse passer, he's just going to rush it more.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like it's not going to make him worse.
If he has a down year passing, he's just going to rush more.
The thing we noticed from Baker is that he does rush, but he doesn't rush a lot. And Kyler rushes a lot. He gets a lot of opportunity. Number 3 in the league in quarterback carries. So. He's going to have that opportunity, and if the offense is any better and he throws more passing touchdowns, this guy could be a top 5 quarterback next year.
Right.
And I wanted to see where he was going. Let me just pull it up really fast.
I think he was going 7th round last time we checked.
Yeah, right now he is going 6'11". So in a 10-team league, that is a 7th round quarterback. 12-team, obviously, 6'11", which is basically a 7th-round pick. Now, that's higher than I want for a quarterback, but I think that guys that get Kyler Murray are going to be really excited. I hope he doesn't jump into the top 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if he starts getting drafted in the top 5 of quarterbacks, we're going to have some
the
problems.
Baker Mayfield flashbacks.
Right. You're gonna start having some real problems. So, yeah, that's the guy. We just talked badly about Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we excited about him?
Because he is the best quarterback, and I think he has all the tools, the ability, and all that stuff to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback next year.
I don't think he overachieved either. Like last year, I think.
I don't think so either.
I mocked the Browns for taking Baker. Mocked them.
Oh, when
they took him number 1 overall.
A lot of people did.
And I mocked him. And he came in, he proved a lot of people wrong, and he was very good. And then, like, fantasy-wise, rookie quarterback, so not really expecting that much. But second year, you expected him to take this leap with
Odell Beckham coming in.
Yeah, everything. He had everything going for him. And I think because everyone was on his side, that chip wasn't on his shoulder anymore because people were, like, not hating on him. You know what I mean? So that might turn around this year. We're not talking about Baker. We're talking about Kyler. But I think that's the difference is that the Browns
they're going to be compared fantasy-wise.
The Browns overachieved last year. The Cardinals did not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
and I don't think the Cardinals are going to bring in like Odell or any like superstar player.
They're going to stick with the guys they have, and
at least on offense.
And what I'm thinking is that Kyler is going to slowly move back a little bit. Maybe people forget what happens, but if that doesn't happen and he continues to go higher and higher because people get excited, like people don't notice the small little moves like picking up offensive linemen. And like,
correct.
We're here to tell you what they're doing, but like if they start doing that, then I think it's good for Kyler Murray. They're projected to draft an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
They're
also the last 3 years there's been a different NFC West champion.
Oh, really?
The Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams. Who knows?
Break the chain. The number 4 guy on this list
You almost screwed it up.
I almost screwed it up. It's Josh Jacobs, who we talked about on the last show. So we won't spend an absurd amount of time on Josh Jacobs. But
reasons to be excited. He is the guy in Oakland, just like he was last year.
Yep.
He was gonna finish in the top 10 last year if he didn't get hurt.
200
low end, but
70 touches.
Yeah, and I don't think that changes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Do you think he gets more touches?
He might get a few more, but nothing crazy more. I don't think. They'll still use the other running backs, but yeah, I don't think too much changes, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. As long as he stays healthy, I think he's gonna be a top 12 fantasy running back next year. I don't think he'll finish top 5, just because of his. As we mentioned last show, his passing.
Are you concerned about health at all?
Maybe a little bit, but I wouldn't be too concerned.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. He's not going to lack for opportunity.
No.
We talked about our concerns on the last show about target share and what to expect from him. So I think drafting him in the 3rd round or the 2nd round, and that's where he's going right now, is hard for me. It's very hard for me to draft Josh Jacobs in the 2nd round. I think he's 205 right now.
Yeah, that's
just too high.
That's a little too high for me too.
Way too high, and that might change. He'll probably go down. But like, do you put Josh Jacobs and Leonard Fournette in the same conversation?
Yes, but I would take Fournette over Josh Jacobs, but I think they are in the same conversation.
Right.
But just because of the floor for Jacobs, but I think
so
Fournette's definitely better.
I mean, I think that's a little high for me. I would take him mid to late 3rd round. I would be okay with that.
I would take him 3rd round. So
just in the context that, like, you know what you're getting in Jacobs. You're going to get a low end RB1, probably, maybe 10, 11, or 12.
Yeah.
And so you know exactly what you're getting from him. I don't expect anything more than that. And I think that if he gets hurt, obviously that's going to damage your team. But I think he's just a perfect RB2, like a second running back on a team. Yeah, he's a
perfect second running back. Yeah.
So I think that you can get that in the 3rd round. If I'm sitting in the 3rd round and Josh Jacobs is on the board, and I have other guys there, like guys like Kerryon Johnson or Chris Carson, who can't stay on the field.
I'm taking Josh Jacobs.
I'm taking Josh Jacobs. Sure. You know what I mean? A lot of people will be like, oh, my God. Now, what's interesting is I just scrolled through this list, and this is why early ADP is a killer. Zeke is at 307 right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Early ADP hurts. I don't know why he's all the way down.
It changes so much because it's
My God, if Zeke's a 3rd rounder, I'll sweat.
You'll do more
Zeke's
than sweat.
Back, baby.
You'll do more than sweat.
Let's go. I wish I could get early rankings for 2020, but no one has released anything.
Yeah.
So I don't
know. It's because the offseason hasn't happened yet or the draft.
True. But anyway, so Jacob's super exciting to see his season. He does good things with his opportunity. If he stays healthy, RB1.
Yeah.
But you have to keep an eye on the health and what happens with the Raiders in the offseason. If they stand pat, I don't think he gets any better than he was this year.
Right.
Let's talk about our next guy on this list, number 3.
Yes.
Devin Singletary. We did talk about this guy as well, but the excitement level is absurdly high.
Yes.
Because when you watch him play, you see
his efficiency is out of this world.
His efficiency is out of this world, and you see like the breakaway run. He had 8. He was number 8 in the league in breakaway runs, number 3 in breakaway run percentage, 18 in evaded tackles, number 3 in juke rate. Like the guy is freaking he's a good running back.
Yeah.
Like the stats, I always talk about those particular efficiency stats because those are the ones running backs can control. A lot of people attribute a good running back to his offensive line. Zeke's good because of his offensive line. Gurley was good because of his offensive line, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of running backs get attributed to it's all the offensive line that does everything. And it's like, oh, if he doesn't have a good offensive line, he's going to suck. These are the things you can control. And so if those are good, you put a good offensive line in front of the kid and explosive things are going to happen. The Bills do have a decent offensive line. It could improve, but I think that Devin Singletary, given the opportunity next year, could explode into a very high-end running back and a guy that you can get a little bit later.
For sure, yeah. I mean, we talked about my hype for Singletary on Tuesday. So
I mean, if he's in the 5th round,
yeah, dude. My pants are off already.
He says his pants are off already.
My
pants were off yesterday for Devin.
That's gonna be a battle because there's like 4 guys in our league that all love Singletary.
Our
pants were off.
We had a video before the season started, and when
September.
they cut LaShawn McCoy.
It was before they cut. It was before they still had LaShawn McCoy in the Bills, and we were saying
excited about Devin Singletary. So he's elusive, he's fast, he's very good. He can pass catch, he can do all of it. So you see an expanded. This is one thing I don't think we talked about on our last show, is how many catches he had. He had 29 catches on 42 targets, which is great. Which is great. We did talk a little bit about the targets per game, but we didn't tell you the totals, which is fantastic. He almost had 200 touches as a backup running back to Frank Gore, who got like 20 touches a game. So I think you could see significant things from Devin Singletary, especially if they don't like. I would be mad if they brought in another running back. I'd be like, you guys are so stupid.
Yeah.
So it does. Off season will tell you a lot more about that. If they pick up another running back, like say Jordan Howard hits free agency, I don't even know if that's possible. We'll say he hits free agency and the Bills are interested and they take him, and then it's like more of like a split situation between Singletary and Jordan Howard. That sucks. Like that would obviously hit the Devin Singletary hype. I would still take him, especially if he's like in the 10th round.
Well, yeah, if he would fall, yeah.
Just because he could be efficient enough to give you good fantasy numbers.
Right.
Even
He would still be good.
And then if obviously if Jordan Howard got hurt and he got all the opportunity, I don't think they'll do that. By the way, I think they're
gonna run it with Singletary.
They're gonna run it with Singletary. So huge breakout potential next year. Like he is like I'm putting him right now. Like it's what the freak month is it? February, and he's on my breakout list already.
He's number 1
because he's got huge potential to be a big time running back in the NFL.
Sure.
Number 2. Now you said I don't know if I agree with this, but I put him there anyway.
I didn't disagree with it. I just knew you were gonna put him on the list, so I was like,
I love you, AJ Brown.
And that's
I let the cat out of the bag. Number 2 is AJ Brown. I love you, AJ Brown.
I do like AJ Brown. I just, we've seen Corey Davis. Again, I hate to bring this up a million times, but first season was great. Had flashy plays.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was saying year 2, this is the year he was going like the 5th round in drafts.
Right.
And then absolutely stunk. Granted, it was different. Marcus Mariota was the quarterback, different head coach, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But is Tannehill still going to be the quarterback?
Right.
We don't know that yet. He probably will be. We think he will be, but we're not sure.
Yeah.
They have Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill are both UFAs.
Right.
But if they bring back Tannehill and run it back with the same team, sure, AJ Brown could do very well. And if they play like they did at the end of last year,
the whole season,
like from when Tannehill took over, if they play like that,
Yeah.
AJ Brown should be number one on this list. He will be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
here's the problem. Is Ryan Tannehill going to play like that next year?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. I see that's where the concern is that I don't have a doubt in my mind that the Tennessee Titans are going to sign Tannehill. Like they're going to sign him.
Yeah, no, I think they'll sign him too.
He's going to be the Tennessee Titans
the reason they're
quarterback.
holding off is to see where Brady goes.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Which if you're Tannehill, you're like, what the F, guys?
Yeah.
But anyway, he's like, I got you to like divisional round.
I literally beat the Patriots.
Yeah. So, anyway, my biggest, like, I'll start off with my cons, I guess. My biggest problem is that are we going to get really great play from Ryan Tannehill like we did this year? Because let's just take those weeks that Tannehill didn't start off this list.
Yep.
A.J. Brown's a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
With a quarterback who can throw him the football, A.J. Brown's a wide receiver 1.
Right. Are you saying take off the Mariota games?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said Tannehill.
Did I say Tannehill?
Yeah.
Mother of God. Frick me.
No, I get what you're saying though.
But like even if you go through those numbers of saying weeks 12 through 16.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said he should be number 1 on this list if Tannehill plays like if you think Tannehill is that good.
Right.
And he re-signs with the Titans?
Like do you know
then yes, he should
AJ Brown through weeks 12 through 16, do you know where he was? Where he finished?
It's probably top 10.
Number 2. The only player better than him in half PPR was Michael Thomas, and he was number 1 in standard leagues.
Wow.
Not that anybody plays at standard anymore.
Yeah, A.J. Brown's a beast.
But
He's a beast.
That is what you're looking at with A.J. Brown. If he gets the opportunity to be the wide receiver 1, which he is, and he gets the opportunity to play with Tannehill again, if Tannehill plays...
All they have to do is re-sign Tannehill and have Tannehill play decent.
Yeah.
And if that happens, A.J. Brown's going to be a wide receiver 1.
A beast. I don't think he's going to be super like consistent, but
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like A.J. Brown, wide receiver 1, it's almost a lock. Like he is this year's Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
Like, and I like it's this guy and Devin Singletary and Miles.
Unless
Sanders
Tannehill goes back to
pumped about
crappy.
I'm going to get
Tannehill.
burned on somebody. I know it. Well, no, that's the concern for me is that Tennessee is totally one of those teams that overachieved this year
could
totally just fall.
I mean,
apart
they did overachieve, but like regular season wise, they went what like 9-7.
Yeah,
like, that feels like
that.
Just about right.
But I like A.J. Brown a lot. I like what he did under Ryan Tannehill. Like if Brady goes there, if Brady went to the Tennessee Titans, I would be concerned for A.J. Brown.
I think it would be worse too. Yeah,
I think it would be worse.
He wouldn't be throwing the ball down the field.
But like Tannehill is just. I think he can be a good quarterback. It's just I'm so like hesitant.
I know.
On it, like he was so good over the course of the time that he played. I think he was like a top 3 quarterback.
But then the playoffs. I mean, he played great teams, but wasn't like
it was just. But like I just don't know what you can expect from Tannehill. They're a running team, so is target share going to increase for him at all? Like there's so many questions surrounding it, so it makes me nervous.
That's why he's not number 1 on this list.
Which is why he's not number 1. Like there's some things like every single one of these guys has something that you're like, okay, let's back the truck up.
Yeah.
And not be super like Devin Singletary. There's a real chance the Bills could like screw him and sign a running back, and like that would suck. But that's a situation that you have to kind of look at.
I'll throw myself out the window.
Number 1 on this list, and we also talked about this guy on the last episode.
Which you should go listen to if you haven't.
You should go listen to if you haven't. You'll get a lot more information on Miles Sanders, who's number 1. Miles Sanders is fantastic. There's no, like, we both were talking about it, and I think for us, we weren't going to put A.J. Brown underneath 2, and we had to put Miles Sanders and Devin Singletary in the spot, and we both were like, it has to be Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm personally so excited about Miles Sanders because the situation for him is so much better than everyone else's.
Correct.
Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Josh Allen.
Yep.
Their offensive line is better than the Bills.
Debatable, but yeah. Probably.
You always got to make it debatable.
Well, it is because you're
and,
saying these statements. That
Miles Sanders is a really great pass catcher, and he consistently gets 4, 5, or 6 targets a game.
Yep.
Which is fantastic for a running back. He is what we want Singletary to be. The situation that we want for Singletary is what Miles Sanders is in right now.
I mean, there's a chance that both those guys.
Oh yeah, they're both former monsters.
I want both those guys.
Like he had 179 carries. This is with Jordan Howard. 179 carries and 50 receptions, which is close to what is that?
That's insane.
Is that 230 touches?
Something like that, yeah.
So if the guy reaches 270 to 300 touches, I mean, he's obviously going to be a running back one. I don't think you can take that away from him.
No.
Any kick returns. So if you keep fantasy fantasy points, yeah, we do.
Oh, do we?
That's why I always mention it because we do in our league, so that's huge. But given the opportunity, and this is the all of your players we just talked about, huge question marks.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't draft a player without question marks. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. Even number one. Overall,
but like,
there's somebody.
Miles Sanders, and his one question mark for me is: situation's good. That answers the question. Like,
well, if they sign Jordan Howard, if they re-sign Jordan Howard, we're all screwed.
One of the rookies we talked about earlier that we love coming into this year, and usually first round running backs work out.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift goes to Miami. That's such a gross location.
It's a good opportunity, though.
Great opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's like, does he have success in Miami, or does he just completely blow chunks because his offense is terrible? You know what I mean? And like usually first-round running backs work out. You know, they get the opportunity. He'd probably be a mid to high-end RB2. So, you know, that's assuming he goes to Miami. But you get this situation where a guy like Miles Sanders, he needs the opportunity. And if he doesn't get it, then obviously we're having that conversation of like, oh, he busted on us and we drafted him in the third round.
Correct, yeah.
I honestly think the hype is going to be like if Jordan Howard leaves, the hype is going to put him in the third, fourth round.
And I would take him.
Right now he's like 402, so
yeah,
how much higher can you go?
If Howard's gone for sure,
right.
I think he probably jumps up to the third round, and I think that's fine. I would take him in the third round.
But I wanted to see. I'm a running back guy. I put our rankings, our weekly rankings. I put my rankings on fantasypros.com for this year. They're not available on Fantasy Pros, but anyway, you had to do it for 1 year in order to get on Fantasy Pros. So next year, my friends. But I put my rankings on Fantasy Pros, and they hold like a little percentage to tell you how accurate you were among other experts. And I got destroyed for wide receivers, but I'm fantastic when it comes to running backs. Love running backs. But Miles Sanders, I went and watched a lot of him on tape after the season. During the season, I was like week 3. Yeah. I watched every single one of his games, every touch he had in every single game for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Like after the week, because I don't want to watch the Eagles. But anyway, I watched every single one of his touches, and the one thing that I noticed about him is that he was just like, he wasn't getting a lot of fantasy points. Like the first 3-4 weeks of the season, he was like RB 58, RB 44, RB 22, RB 40. Like he wasn't putting up fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
But what you noticed when you watched him was that he's extremely explosive, and when given the opportunity, that those 3, 6, 7 fantasy point weeks will turn into 15 and 20 fantasy point weeks given the opportunity. So the question is, does Miles Sanders get that opportunity?
I think he will.
I hope he does. Somebody on this list is going to work out.
Somebody's not going to work out.
Somebody's not going to work out. You know who I really think it is? It's one of the guys I'm most excited about. I think it's going to be A.J. Brown. He's going to kill so many people. And I want him to be, like we both just said, he's going to be an RB1.
A wide receiver 1.
But that's assuming.
Tannehill's
wide
good.
Receiver 1, sorry. That's assuming Tannehill's good and they retain most of their assets. Like Derrick Henry, he has to sign a contract.
Yeah, people forget about that. He's a UFA.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be weird. But
they're gonna have to sign Tannehill and Henry. They're gonna have to re-up both those guys. I don't know if they can.
No. Well, anyway, that'll do it for our top 5 rookies going into next year. Next week starts the insane process that is drafting players into the NFL. So it starts with the combine, and then for another month you're going to have what do they call it? Private workouts with teams, and then the NFL draft at the end of April. So we got a long road ahead of us for rookies. We might give you maybe one episode of combine preview just to give you like a heads up of what's happening, some guys that we're taking quick looks at and stuff like that. But outside of that, we probably won't cover anything until April.
Yeah, probably not for rookies.
It's not even worth covering. I mean, talking about rookies is good and where they might land and locations that would be good for them is good, but like you won't really know what they are until they land in a certain location.
Yeah.
Like if DeAndre Swift gets drafted by the Bears,
it's a different.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Dude.
The Cowboys.
That's one thing going into. I talked about this before. Situation matters, not even just for players that are currently active in the NFL, but rookies. Mm-hmm. Like for rookie running backs, wide receivers, like the success of a player is hugely tied to the location that they're in. Don't know why Terry McLaurin worked out for a lot of time, but anyway. But these are the top 5 guys that we're super excited about. Don't forget to check out our website, thefantasychampions.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll talk to you. Talk to you next Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
All right. See you later.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Champions Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes and YouTube, and follow us on Twitter @TheFFChamps.